Welcome back, you guys. Today we're going to do another quick and easy tutorial on how to make my oyster mushroom kebabs. Now, these are not regular mushrooms, these are oyster mushrooms, so they taste way different, and you guys just have to try them. Your friends and your family that are not even vegan are going to love them, so stay tuned. Okay, so I know some of you may be like, what the hell is an oyster mushroom? So I'm going to use two different kinds today. We have the king oyster mushrooms, which look like this, and then we have the regular oyster mushrooms, which look like this. So I'm going to use both. I like the texture of both of them on the skewers. And so you can usually find these at a lot of the Asian markets. You can sometimes find them at like Whole Foods or other grocery stores, but they're kind of hard to find. But at the Asian markets, they have a ton of different mushrooms. I definitely suggest that you experiment with them because they all have different tastes and textures, and they're so good. And especially if you're a transitioning vegan, they're great. Okay, now we're gonna get into the ingredients and utensils you're gonna need to get started. So we're gonna be using the oven today. So you're gonna need a pan, and I have some parchment paper because I do not use foil. And then you're also gonna need some oyster mushrooms. So we have the king oysters here, and then we have the regular oyster. This is actually gonna be a lot. You don't need this much. You can use one if it's just gonna be for one serving for yourself. You're also gonna need your bamboo skewer sticks. I have these ones here. We're gonna need to soak these ones in water before we use them for about a half an hour. So I already have mine soaking. So feel free to use whatever vegetables that you want. I'm gonna make these with more of the mushroom instead of veggies, but I have an onion here, a bell pepper, a jalapeno, and some lemon for some lemon juice that we're gonna squeeze on top after. And I have a few cloves of garlic that we're gonna mix in. And if you know me, you know I love the herbs and spices. This is what's gonna make your meals taste so much better. Now we're gonna go to the spices again. And I know if you guys watched my last video, these are optional, but these are really what's gonna make it taste on another level. So what you will need will be a little bit of sea salt, and I would say some liquid smoke if you want that smoky flavor. This one is just plain liquid smoke. It doesn't have any preservatives, artificial flavors, or any MSG. And if you like yours plain, then you can add a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's it. But we're not doing plain here, okay? But if you're like me and you like the spices and you like a lot of flavor, or you've never really added spices or anything to your meals, here's the chance to start experimenting. So we have some garlic powder, red chili pepper. Now, if you don't like spicy stuff, you don't have to use any red chili pepper. Ground cumin, if you have the seeds, that's fine too. We have some thyme. This is a big deal. Make sure you have the thyme. You guys know how I feel about the thyme. We got some onion powder, and I really like this shaker here. So it's literally only a few ingredients. It has paprika flakes, sea salt, garlic, and basil, and I really like the smoky flavor that it gives the skewers as well. Also, we are going to need the smoked paprika. Don't forget this. You can use regular paprika, but the smoked is going to take it to the next level. And then I have a little bit of chili powder. This is not garlic powder in here. I just reused the bottle. We have two of my favorite herbs here. We have flat leaf parsley and cilantro. Now these we're only going to use about a cup of each, but these are also super good for us because they detox heavy metals out the body, which you guys, if you know a lot of my videos, I talk about how heavy metals affect the body and cause disease. So also get like a big bowl because we're going to be mixing all of the ingredients together in the bowl with the mushrooms. So from the oven, we are going to broil these, and they're going to cook really fast. So I'm going to put it on high and start so that we can get that heating. Okay, so with these oyster mushrooms, you're just going to like break off the top. Breaks off super easy. And then I break this into pieces because these I like to use these for the top of the skewers. So we have these, and then you're just going to take it and you're just going to grab it. You're just going to grab it and rip some pieces off like this. They literally rip off really easy. And just put them in the bowl. So as you can see, they're just ripping off nice and easy into pieces. And I even am gonna split them in half, like, and make them a little bit smaller so that they just go easily on the skewer sticks. But this is so easy, like you can even have your kids do it with you. And they don't have to be perfect, they're just literally gonna slide right on there. Okay, so with the oyster mushrooms, I'm just gonna break them apart like this into like little pieces. It's easier when you have bigger oyster mushrooms, but it's okay. These will work. So here we have a full bowl that is all pulled apart, and I'm gonna put some sea salt on it now, because while we cut up the veggies, what it's gonna do is going to allow the mushroom to be a little bit more softer and pliable for us to put on the skewer sticks. So I just mixed it around a little bit to make sure the sea salt kind of got all in between all of the different oyster mushrooms, and we're gonna let it sit, like I said, and what's gonna do is bring out some of the juices. So now it's time to chop everything up. Like I said, you can use whatever vegetables you like. Just take into consideration that you want to use vegetables that are going to cook around the same time. You don't want a very hard vegetable that's going to take too long while the mushrooms are already done cooking. You want them to all be around the same time. That's why I like to use soft veggies that cook pretty quickly. Okay, so first let's start with one onion. I'm using a yellow onion, but you can use red or white, whichever you like. And I'm gonna cut them into basically squares, so you can cut them to whatever size you like, however big you want them for your skewers. And if you are making a smaller batch, you obviously don't need to use this many onions, but since I'm gonna be making about 8 to 10, I'm gonna use this whole onion. So here I have a jalapeno. I'm gonna do the same thing, cut it into small squares so that I can easily put them on the skewers. We're gonna do the same with the red pepper, and this you can cut it however you'd like, but I just cut mine into like rectangles and squares as well. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, here we have our cilantro and our parsley. I cut the stems off because I'm going to use those for another dish. So I'm just using the leaves here. So I just chop it up as small as I can, as fine as you want. And then when I'm done chopping these up, I'm going to add them to the bowl with the rest of the ingredients. Next up, we have my favorite, garlic. So the easiest way to peel garlic is to smash it with the side of the knife, and then it just kind of peels open for you. Now, you can choose to chop your garlic in small pieces, or you can do like what I'm gonna do and use a garlic crusher to smash them into the bowl. I really like the garlic crusher because it brings out a lot more of the flavor, in my opinion. So that's what I'll be doing. You'll see me do it here in a second. So here's my garlic crusher. You just put the garlic in there, put the handle down, squeeze it, and the garlic come out nice and crushed. So I basically did that for the rest of the garlic that I had there and added it to the bowl. As you can see, I smashed all that garlic on there. Now we are gonna add the spices to this. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic powder just because it's a different type of taste than actually fresh garlic. And I'm not measuring this, you do this to your taste. So I just added like 2 dashes of cumin. I'm just gonna add one more. That's like a dash. Don't overdo it with the cumin. It's gonna give you that savory flavor that we all love, but you don't wanna overpower it. Now only add these if you like spice. Now these aren't even that spicy to me, but I'm gonna add a few dashes of those. Y'all like how I labeled my onion powder? Listen, I recycle, okay? So I'm gonna add some onion powder too. Now, if you're one of those people that don't really use a lot of spices, you definitely should have onion powder in your kitchen. Now we got our thyme. I never used to cook with thyme before I went vegan, but it is like a staple also for all of my meals, and especially to give it that flavor that you're looking for, especially if you're transitioning. It is a seasoning that's used in a lot of meats, so people associate it with that flavor. So I use a lot of thyme. Now I don't think you can really overdo the thyme, but I use like a teaspoon or a tablespoon. Now we got some black pepper. I like a lot of pepper. Now this pepper is, ooh, that's kind of a lot, but this pepper is kind of spicy. So beware if you're one of those people that, like I said, that don't like a lot of spice. Don't put too much, but I like a lot on mine. That was definitely a perfect amount for me. But if you don't like too much spice, you know, just a few dashes, okay? Now this baby right here, the smoked paprika, you wanna get a good amount of this. So I would say of at least 2 teaspoons. But you can't really overdo it with the smoked paprika. It's a must-have. So like I said, if you want that smoky flavor, here we have the all concentrated liquid smoke. You don't want to overdo it with this. Literally just a few drops of it in there and you're good. For this South African smoked spice, I have about a teaspoon of that. I'm gonna pour that in there. And then for my chili powder, which actually says garlic powder, but there's chili powder in here. It's a mild one. I'm gonna put a few dashes of that. Okay, so we also need a little bit of lemon juice. Now this is optional, you don't have to add any lemon juice, but I like a little tang. So I got 1 lemon here. I'm just gonna squeeze it over my fingers here so the seeds don't fall in. So that was 1. I got a lot of juice out of that one. Oh darn, a seed got in. I gotta get it out. Okay, let me get that little seed out. Got it. So next we are going to mix this. Now I would have used a bigger bowl if I knew I was gonna have that much, but we're gonna mix it through. Oh, it's kind of splattering everywhere. So where you want basically that spice rub to get all in the crevices of the mushrooms. The mushrooms, as you can feel them now, they're a little bit softer, like if you're doing this on your own with me. So as you can see, we're getting it all mixed in there. So just do this until it is fully covered. All of the oyster mushrooms are fully covered with the spices. Okay, so now get your skewers. Yeah. Okay, so mine were soaking in water. I turned them upside down too, so they got both sides. So you're gonna take 1 skewer, and I like to get like an onion or a bell pepper on the bottom first, and you're gonna let it go all the way down, and then you can just get, so the pieces now are gonna be a little more flimsier. So what I do sometimes is I bend them like this, and then just put them on like that. Get an onion, get a jalapeno. Now, if this stuff is spicy, if you made it spicy like how I make mine, be careful after you wash your hands, because if you touch your eyes after, it can be really spicy. And let's see, so if you have the oyster mushroom like this, you can kind of just like roll it up and just make sure the piercing part goes through all of it. I know, like I said, these ones are a little bit smaller, so it's a little harder, but they go on still really nice. And then like some pieces will be like really chunky. You can totally just stick them on there. Let's do another piece of bell pepper. And then for the top, when we get close to the top, I like to use the top of the oyster mushroom. Oops. Like this. These tops here. Put them on the top. Now look at that. Now you tell me, does that not look good or what? So I'm gonna lay it down now on the parchment paper and make a few more, and then we'll put them in the oven. Okay, so as you can see, they are all laid out on the parchment paper here, and yes, some of them are hanging off the side. That's totally fine. So this made 8, and then I have some leftover here, and I'm just gonna pour this leftover seasoning or rub or whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna put it on top. That's how much I have left. It's a lot of like onions and stuff, but I'm just gonna kind of put some on the top here. And this way it just kind of all cooks, because I don't want to try to make another one. Or you can put this on the side. Sometimes I put it on the side, but like, you know, get all of this, all that good stuff there on the bottom, coat it. So since I'm only putting 1 pan in, I'm just gonna get the rest of this and I'm gonna put it in these little crevices here, like so they'll cook on the bottom. Okay, it's nice and full. It's ready to go into the oven. So here we go. So my broiler is on the top. So it is on the 4th rack, but I have it on really high. I'm not sure, it depends for you and your oven how yours works, but I'm gonna leave it in here for about 4 minutes and check on it. Ooh, there's golden hour light though. Okay, so since all of our ovens are different, make sure that you keep a close eye on this because we have it on the broil. Now, also, if you don't have a broiler, put it on the highest setting, or like 450 Fahrenheit, and put it in there for the same amount of time. It'll still cook very good. You just may not have that little bit of crispy texture on the top. Well, actually you will, because yesterday I used a different oven at my grandmother's house and I put it at 450 and they cooked thoroughly all through. The broiler gets that nice little, like, almost like smoky burn on the top, you know? So I'm gonna note that you will be able to smell the bamboo kind of getting crispy too. So make sure you air it out and have the fan on, you know. 4 minutes just hit. Let's check these real quick. Okay, so as you can see, it's already starting to brown the sticks a little bit, but we're gonna keep them in for a little bit longer. So midway through, you can take them out and then flip them onto the other side if you want that, like I said, that smoky kind of texture flavor on both sides, but otherwise you can just leave them in there. I'd say like total on the broiler on high, it takes about 10 minutes. But I like to keep checking on them because, like I said, each broiler and each oven is different and you don't want to burn them. Now you can see it's starting to crisp up at the edges. So these sides are pretty much done. Now, if you want both sides crispy, you are going to get them, and I mean, I would make sure that it's not too hot, but turn them around. Seriously, or use gloves for this. I turned them all around and I'm gonna put them in there probably for about 2 more minutes. Okay, let's check them out. Ooh, yes. Time to take them out, you guys. Look at this, you guys. Look at that smoke. Look at that. So it's all done. So now let's see if I just pull one up. Do you see that? Oh my goodness. And you're gonna notice there's gonna be like juices just falling from them. Look at these. I have to do like a quick taste test. That wasn't even the part I wanted. That's good too. That's the part I want right there. Okay, these get a little messy. As you can see, like there's just juices there laying in the bottom, so it'll be really, really juicy. These are so good. And it's so juicy. Your friends and family are gonna love these. And wasn't that so easy? You have to try this recipe. And like I said, you can use whatever seasonings you like. So that is all I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. It is so bomb. Wait till you try it. You're gonna want everyone to taste it. Also, one of those things that you can prepare and bring to a barbecue and have them throw it on a grill. Make sure you clean the grill off before, you know, if you're vegan. And as always, let me know if you guys have any questions, and make sure that you subscribe or like this video if you want more. I'm trying to get as many as I can done through the week. We have spiced lentils coming next, so stay tuned for that. But I know you guys are gonna come back for more once you guys try this because it's bomb. Okay, but for real, I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great day. I'm about to go get my grub on. Bye.